What's up, everybody? We're back with the podcast. I'm Josh Fralick. He's Jay Himmelstein. America is blue. It's not always easy to do these when we're, not tails up and not feeling great about the result. But we're here to chop it up nonetheless. Jay, let's hear it from you first. What are your initial impressions of the game today?
It was a frustrating night. The team didn't look particularly great. We were going up against a tough squad who played really compact and tried to prevent us from being able to get anything going on the offensive end. I'm not sure about certain lineup decisions, how that would have impacted our fluidity, but it's not exactly an exciting outcome when you finish with a 0-0 draw.
It was tough to watch. Five changes from the team. From the weekend, more Kai Havertz, more Mark Cucurella. Good thing your boy Armando did get a run out. I was happy to see him leading the line. I did not disagree with that at all. Totally disagreed with the decision to go with Kai Havertz. It was a little bit disappointing. My unabashed affection for our American number 10 does not bleed any bluer than me, but I just feel like some of those changes were not good. Unfortunately, Connor. Well, I guess it's a good thing that he was ill and not injured. I was fine with his selection, but otherwise, it was an interesting formation. No one really knew what he was going to come out with, which I guess that was the whole point. We had I guess a diamond midfield, you could say, with Broya leading the line up top, but no pop, no sizzle, no snap. Didn't really find very much exciting football.
Yeah, and they survived the initial onslaught. Brentford came out with a ton of energy. They were coming right after us, which was a little bit surprising. And it was almost when Connor went down, and then we had to change up what we were doing, bring Kova in. We had to slide Mount up. Then we started to control the game a little bit more. The midfield started to play better. We were starting to pick up possession, but we could not get anything going as far as the final third. And the back line still looks leaky. I still don't think we know exactly what we're doing back there. So, we needed another very special performance from our keeper in order to keep us in this one. But we did not look like a very polished team.
Well, I mean, you were the first one to say it. If it's not for Kepa, we're in real trouble these past couple of weeks. And again, it's a testament to him. The superlatives should be high. Everybody was bashing him for the longest time. Everybody better be singing his highest praises right now because he is playing at an extremely high level. He deserves all the shine that he's getting. I think he's going to continue to be underappreciated because of what a rough start he had to his Chelsea career. Putting that price tag, like you said last time we talked, putting that price tag on anybody's going to be tough, especially given the circumstance. But now it's really starting to prove out. And I'll tell you what, he's probably the hardest guy to get out of the team right now. You tell me somebody else you're not putting on the team sheet, aside from Mason Mount, without Kepa Arrizabalaga going in first. You got nobody.
No, I agree with that. What's really unfortunate and what's bothering me the most, we have a lot of talented players, particularly on our back line. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just lack of cohesion, having to change different formations, we're very disorganized. And one of the biggest problems that I saw, and this has been the last couple of weeks, we didn't go up against two particularly talented teams. They were playing organized. They had good game plans coming in against us, but it's really disconcerting when you have the caliber of players on our back line defending in front of Kepa. And what was it? Maybe 50% of the balls that were being lofted into the box were finding a clean, unmarked man, being able to head it directly at our keeper. And if he wasn't Frosty, again, we're in a position where we're not keeping a clean sheet. So they need to get our back line figured out, despite the fact that we kept a clean sheet. If Kepa is an aces, that's not the case.
It is definitely not representative of the way that we played. Georgie frustrated me. Certainly Kova not as much. I know I can completely understand the call to give Kova a break today. Georgie, although he's not known for his incisive passing outside the one great wonder ball he had to Tammy Abraham. But since then, when's the last time Georgie gave you a nice through ball for an assist or something like that? I'm just going off the top of my head. It's difficult when we're not being incisive, especially when we want to really start to put pressure on somebody. We got to show a little bit more courage, I think, from the midfield, trying to get in to the 18-yard box more. That was very frustrating for me. We couldn't find a pass in the first half, and just for me, a couple of little things I wanted to bring to light was, Broya did look bright at times. I completely understand why he was the selection up front. Absolutely like the way he changed it up, and we got to get that kid in there. We got to get some confidence on the boil. But at the 44th minute, when that chance opened up right before the half and the ball came to Cucurella, I'll tell you what, first thing I wrote down, he's no Marcus Alonso, because I'll tell you what, the number 3, the left footer, he's putting a foot right through that thing, and he's getting something on target. Cucurella missed his chance, and I think that it was indicative of just sort of the lack of willingness for Chelsea to take a risk, which we should be taking all the risks, especially in a West London derby away at Brentford. You got to have a little bit more pop.
Yeah, you're speaking of a bigger picture issue, I think. We're not seeing crisp decision making, right? Guys are shooting when they're supposed to be squaring a ball off. Guys are making ill-advised passes when they should be actually putting it on target. Using Broya as an example, I thought he looked really great today. He's a young guy. He's inexperienced. Some of his decision making wasn't great, but we're talking about a big, fast, marauding man. I mean, this guy can cook, and I love to see that as a change up from what we have with Aubameyang. Fantastic. But even at the beginning of the second half, he had 2 opportunities where he could have either gone on goal or squared a ball off, and he turns it out to the outside of the box
twice in quick succession.
Yeah,
in quick succession.
So this is indicative of what a lot of these guys are doing. Whether it's, I'm not going to fault Mace, but it's Sterling. Pulisic has been pretty decisive. I can't really fault him very much, but a lot of the guys who've been playing up top, it's the wrong decision at the wrong time. And that's what's preventing us from getting quality chances on goal.
Well, and so from my perspective, and again, it's just we have very few guys when they're getting the ball, they're turning towards and attacking. And that's the one thing that you can't fault Chris for, is that most of his direction is towards the goal, which is the reason why I want the ball at his feet, and why Ruben Loftus-Cheek in particular is extremely frustrating to watch when he's wide. I don't know how many times I can say it. I understand we're running low on options, but it's very, very difficult to like Ruben Loftus-Cheek where he is. He was extremely pedestrian. He blew another chance again, kind of right after Cucurella did, which I had just kind of have it burned into my memory, where I say Reece James blast this ball hard and low, or at least get something on target, and there you go. Ruben Loftus-Cheek looks like he's never shot on goal in his life, and sails another one over the crossbar. And I feel like, to your point, certain decisions aren't being made, and guys aren't playing to the moment the right way. You know what you got to do at the end of the half. At least make sure that ball's on target, and you got to test the keeper, or at least make sure that he's got to put it aside for a corner or perhaps a rebound. And I don't think that they're doing the right situational things. I guess sometimes we call it blocking and tackling in American football to get the job done. And it's important to see those things. And a lot of the guys that we had on the pitch today were a little disappointing in that area, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. And I know you mentioned it earlier. Where the hell has Kai Havertz gone? He's been up and down throughout his time since he came over. He was invisible, just invisible on the field. I think he had one impact run where we had a clean chance in the first half. But beside that, no decisive movement, no clean passes, nothing putting anybody else in a position to do something special or to be able to advance the ball. The guy has got cement blocks on his feet. He's just kind of standing there. I don't understand why he is getting put out there when you do have alternative options that have been lively when they've been put in.
And how excited were we when he came over, in the summertime with Timo and everybody else. We thought everything was going to be, completely transformed. He's been a real disappointment for me because he's so wonderful in the German team. No one's going to forget what he did in the Champions League. I mean, is he a deep lying playmaker? Because whatever he's doing up front is not working for me. There's no urgency. There's no interchange. We know that he's not an out and out striker. That's proved itself out. What is he? Is he a number 10? Because I don't know that he's out of position or he's just not in the right team. But the fact of the matter is he's a problem right now, and he's such a huge talent. This is not me, diminishing the talent or saying that I don't think he deserves to be in the club. It's just he doesn't deserve to be in the 11. I'll tell you that, and I don't think he deserves to be up front, especially with the options that we have right now. And we need to figure something out with Kai Havertz and fast.
I honestly, I don't know what the solution is within this team because he's not a striker. He can't play on the wing. He doesn't have enough pace. He doesn't have enough ball control, and his passing is not decisive or creative enough to be able to do very much up front. I think when he plays for his national team, it's a lot of opportunistic finishing, and he's very good at it. I mean, I'm not saying he's not a talented player. I just, with the construct of our squad and what we're looking to do, I just don't know what he does or where he fits. And I certainly don't think he deserves a spot on the team, particularly coming up against United this weekend.
And how am I gonna not agree with that? If he is in the team, I think there's a lot of people that would be displeased with that decision. But when we got towards the latter end of the game, when Chukwuemeka and Christian Pulisic were both playing, I guess you'd kind of say a dual number 10 role. I'd love to see Mace and Christian Pulisic interchanging with those dual number 10s. I think you can get, Mace has much different qualities than Christian does, but that dynamic, I think, creates and strikes a lot more fear than, a Kai Havertz, interchange with Mace, because they haven't been able to make it happen up front. Connor's still trying to figure out his way in the team, and I don't think Raheem Sterling is going to be too pleased playing wing back too much longer. And I think that is another point that we can take a look at. If it does call for a formation change, I'm totally fine with Raheem Sterling and Christian out on the wings interchanging play with Mason as a number 10 with Aubameyang as a true striker. I think that's a way to really create some offense. But that's just something that I'm kicking around in my head.
Well, we've had this conversation before, but let's open up the can on Christian Pulisic. I know you're a huge fan of his. I know you always want him to be in the starting lineup. And beside the 1 year, if I'm correct, underneath Lampard, where he was our only attacking threat, and the guy played out of his mind. That run of form was fantastic. And if he was doing that on a consistent basis when he has had his opportunities, I probably feel exactly where you are. Reading just between the lines a little bit, and I do think he deserves a start, and I do want to see him in there moving forward, at least for the foreseeable. But given that he's played underneath a number of different managers, and they like him as that change of pace off the bench to change the complexion of the game, i.e. the sixth man on an NBA team. There's a lot of six men where you're like, why isn't this guy starting? It's like, no, because he has a bigger impact on the game when he comes in second quarter, third quarter, and just puts a team on their heels and completely changes the direction of a game. I still have that question mark with regards to him. I don't know, because he has had a couple of runs where he has been put out there and hasn't done a whole lot with it. The injuries are another thing as far as his reliability is concerned. But, do you think that he serves more value to this team? And let's assume we have Raheem, we have a healthy squad. do you think he serves more value as that first attacking option off the bench, or are you dead set on him being starting 11 because of how direct he is, because of what he can create?
I mean, I'm all about the creativity and my two favorite qualities in midfield players and wing players are work rate and creativity. I think Chris is one of our few, like I said, forward-facing players who's interested in creating some havoc. He actually technically created the best chance, and it was arguably, a penalty that he drew right there towards the end. He's got fast feet. He's extremely quick, and he's a willing facilitator. He's also, a willing shooter on goal. And just to me, he hasn't gotten his chances, at least as far as this Graham Potter term is concerned. Kai Havertz has gotten plenty of chances. Kukurea has gotten plenty of chances. Familiarity, absolutely, that's going to be part of it. But at least as it stands out right now, and today, in terms of his performance, he was one of the very few positive players who are trying to go towards goal. I mean, how many more backwards and sideways passes are we going to see? And recycling is one thing. I'm not naive to this, but we got to have guys with attacking intent, and their impression is towards goal. That's just the one thing that I think that we need from sort of a dynamic perspective, and that's what I think he brings. Some unique athleticism and some creativity. So I won't apologize for wanting him in there, and if he deserves a place in the permanent 11, let him earn it. But he's certainly on the fringes. He just needs some opportunities.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree.
All right. So let's wrap it up right now. Unfortunately, I think everybody knows that there's not a whole lot to talk about today in terms of the 0-0 draw, but we will call it out. We got to bring you the man of match, which is brought to you by All Out Fitness. And at All Out Fitness, they're empowering individuals to be their best selves. So who is the best version of themselves for you today for Big Blue Jay?
It's an obvious one. I think we're both going to land on the same one here. It's Kepa again. The guy, the type of saves that he's making and the type of pressure that he's been under has been, it's been a barrage. And, these balls that are getting lofted into the box and not having a defender man mark and get on the ball, it's infuriating. There are just so many clean shots at him, and he's been incredible back there. The other thing that I like about him, he was very timid with regards to him patrolling his area.
Preach it, Jay.
He was so timid. He didn't know whether he was supposed to go, stay. He was making poor judgment calls. In the last two games, he's had a couple of opportunities where he's just been decisive, run out, strong punch, get the ball out of danger. Listen, I don't know if this is just a great run of form or if this is who Kepa was when we brought him in and he just got off track given all the pressure associated with his circumstances. But the guy was incredible again. So Kepa's man of the match.
100%. There's no other choice. And I'll tell you what, I hope it's the latter. This is who he is. And to see him now, look, hey, Kepa's been in the weight room. It looks like he's been drinking his protein shakes and all of that stuff because he looks bigger, he looks stronger, he looks more confident. He's definitely better with the ball at his feet than Mendy, which is not saying saying a whole lot. God bless him. But I'll tell you what, again, this is a good problem to have because with the run of games and how important the importance of the games that we're going to be playing, particularly falling off the pace in the Prem. League Cup still active. Got the Champions League, of course. We're gonna need everybody. So Kepa, man of the match for sure. Let's switch it up real quick here too. Let's talk about some of the injuries. Let's talk about a little bit more kind of the team news here. And one of the things is unfortunately the guy who's so near and dear to many of us is our beloved number 10 going down for 4 more months with the hammy. What do you think of Angie?
Oh, man, this is a tough one. on his day, if he's healthy, even at his age, he's the best defensive midfielder in the game. He could play
Best
for
in the
any
world.
team in the world. He could
Best
play
in the
for
world.
any team, start immediately. This is not just a pulled hammy. I mean, he's having surgery on this thing.
Bad.
He's had soft tissue issues for what feels like 2 years, 3 years now. I hope he's able to come back. I hope come 2023, he's back, he's fit. He'll have a good run of form for the end of the year. I don't know if we can go ahead and spend the type of money that a guy at his caliber is going to require when his body has not been able to keep him on the pitch. So
I think he's cooked. He's cooked, man. And well, at least in blue. And yeah, boy, do we all owe him a debt of gratitude. Claude Makelele 2.0, a wonderful player. Nobody runs longer. Nobody plays harder. All of the superlatives, all of the flowers. And he's also like the nicest guy on the planet. Not that I know him personally, but the joke is that everybody loves N'Golo Kante.
Yeah.
And what's not to love about the guy? It's just unfortunately, to your point, I don't know how you can invest the type of capital that's going to be required for a player of his caliber, for the type of capital that it's going to cost us. And we need to continue to reinforce this team and continue to reinforce the youth in the midfield, because I think we've done a great job of bringing in Cucurella, keeping Reese, Wesley Fofana. We've got some, Trevor. We've got some great backline talent. You alluded to it earlier. I think we've got some wonderful attacking talent with Mace, Christian, Raheem Sterling, Broya, midfield help. We really need to reinforce that midfield. Georgie's days are numbered, I think. I still love Mr. Kovacic. And he speaks like 6 languages, so you got to have a guy who can talk to everybody in the middle there. I don't think he's going anywhere, but I think it's time to address the midfield. Ruben Loftus-Cheek isn't the answer either.
It's number one priority. Number one priority. I don't think this is a January thing. I think there's just too much pressure in that window.
No.
There's too much fan pressure because everybody wants to make a decisive change that's going to impact the second half of the season going into big European games. This is something that's going to have to be done during the summer, I think, in order to be done effectively. But we flirted with a couple of guys, Chouameni, who ended up going to Real. We need to address this, and I agree. Georgie's out of contract. I would have if he was going to give us a nice home discount, I would keep Georgie because he does serve purpose as far as possession, playing the metronome, keeping control, and just keeping everybody calm, even though he's not somebody who's going to give you really strong defensive prowess in front of the back line.
Well, and he's a dressing room guy. There's value in that, without a doubt, that the team continuity and cohesion, understanding how to play. I definitely agree with you there. I don't know necessarily what a hometown discount is these days in the Premier League, or how that all works out, but that's the one thing that does keep me up at night, if anything does, is what we're doing in the midfield. That's something that we got to take care of. But is there anything else you want to talk about before we get into the weekend? Is there a game on Saturday?
Yeah. Big one.
Who's it against?
Red Devils.
Anybody good?
I don't know if they're good or not. It depends on which team shows up. Sometimes they come out there and they look fairly competent. Other times it looks like they can't tie on their boots. What I do know about them is that they hand it to us on a regular basis. I'm not going to even try to mention the date, but I know we haven't beaten them in a long time in the Premier League. So I think we're going back at least 4 years since we've had a win against them.
when
And
you
they haven't
pulled that
exactly been
stat out on me,
they haven't exactly been gangbusters over that period of time. They've just owned us no matter what type of form they've had.
it has been tough times against United, and that is unfortunate. Um, but nonetheless, I don't know. Would you like to hear a little research on Man United, Jay?
Hit me up.
All right. Well, they're currently fifth in the league, as we spoke about, taking 19 points from a potential 30. One below us in the table at fifth. The matchup is at the Bridge this weekend, of course, which we all know. And if you had to throw a guess out there, just who's leading United in goals this year? Got any feelings on that?
I know Anthony has a bunch. I know Rashford. I don't think Ronaldo's done very
Well, it is
much.
Anthony with three. He has the most goals, and actually he's tied with Marcus Rashford, who's also leading the team or tied for the league with 2 assists. Uh, we also got Casemiro, of course, in the midfield, the new addition, and Lisandro Martinez from Ajax in the back in front of David De Gea, who's also been there for about 106 years. I don't know how much longer he's going to be a Red Devil, but man, he's been there a long time.
Yeah, it's actually surprising to me that they are fifth. I mean, all the news around United has been fairly negative this year. I guess listen, they have an all-star team. They've got a lot of talent at every position, and obviously they haven't quite lived up to what I think they look like on paper. They scare me. I mean, they have our number at the moment. So our form hasn't been particularly crisp the last 2 games. They just got a big win today over Spurs. So they're going to be coming in with some confidence. We're going in with a lot of question marks, a lot of guys, injured at the moment. I'm not feeling particularly great about the game, but this is one of those. We're playing at home. We'll have the fans behind us. They're going to have to step up, and it's going to be a tough challenge.
Well, I mean, look at you doing my job for me. You said that they scare you. Well, what scares you about Manchester United, Jay? Who's going to be the man to watch this weekend?
I don't think it's a particular man. It's the mindset of knowing. Listen, when you have a team's number, you have like the uh-ohs in the psyche of the team going up against them. It's like no matter who we've thrown out there, no matter what we've done, this team just finds a way to look fantastic against us and beat us. I'm more concerned about our team's own psyche. That's what worries me the most, more so than anything United's going to throw at us. Listen, I mean, I think Anthony's a nice talent. I think it's too early to say how good he's going to be. He's still fairly new to the league. Obviously, CR7, if he gets game time, the man's always dangerous. He's, arguably top 2, top 3, best ever. There's no one in particular on that team that's really making me shake in my boots. It's more about our mindset going into the game already with potentially some shaken confidence against an opponent that we don't have much reason to be confident against.
Fair enough. Well, I can tell you what scares me, and it annoys me because I don't like him. I don't like Bruno Fernandes. I don't like him. And between him and Fred right now, they were the 2 goal scorers today, and they were the 2 catalysts for the problems that they caused, for Spurs. So those are the 2 guys that we got to watch. I don't see Den Hag making a lot of changes. This game means way more for them than it does for us. I'll say that. That's truly how I feel about this. Um, I don't want to diminish the importance of it for us, but I think all of the pressure is continually on Man United. I think Ten Hag is going to be dealing with a lot of scrutiny if he has more problems at the Bridge. If they do not perform well, that pressure in Manchester is no small thing, and it's the equivalent of playing for the Giants or the Yankees. All the media attention is going to be on you. So I think if Chelsea can continue to ramp up the pressure and play well and get a result, I think it's going to continue to put the pressure onto Man United's performances. And if they're not into the Champions League, this year, where do they go? Where do they go from here? So, I feel much better about where I'm sitting than where they're sitting.
Yeah, I agree with that. Big picture, I'm happy with the direction of our club. I think that they've had a lot of similar frustrations where they've thrown money at a problem and haven't had results in a really long time, any meaningful results. We've had a bit of a roller coaster, but we also have collected quite a bit of silverware over, through the ups and downs. So um, I'm confident with where our team is in the grand scheme of things. I like the direction of the club, where the current owner conglomerate, where they're taking us. But that doesn't mean a hell of a lot as far as what's going to happen on Saturday. I'm a little bit nervous about this one.
Well, we will save the predictions for just before the game. We'll let everybody know on Friday night what we think the lineups will be and what the results will be. But in the meantime, we really appreciate everybody's support. Thanks for listening to us out there. I'm Josh Fralick. He's Jay Himmelstein. America is blue, and we'll see you next time on the podcast. Appreciate you.